Hello, good afternoon, viewers, and welcome to another exciting moment on CAC television. Today is another beautiful day, and I'm glad to announce the program we're about starting. It's actually something outside what we've been doing in the past, and that had to do with governance. And when we talk about governance, we had to look into politics. And under that, we are looking at a caption that we call Church and Politics Today. To help me do justice to that, I'm not alone in the studio. I have a very notable speaker, a social analyst. Before I give you all the details about him, before I introduce my guest, let's go on a quick break. And when we get back, I will do the full introduction of my guest, and you'll enjoy the program with me. Welcome back. Like I was saying, our guest today is a very patriotic fellow. He is the executive director for Center for Rights and Grassroots Initiative. He's also the project manager at Media Assembly. That's one of a social analyst. Also, is Mr. Nelson Ekujumi. Good to have you on the program, bro.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being with you.
It's been an age, and having you here is more of a blessing to me and even to our audience at home.
Yeah, I'm humbled to be in your studio.
Okay.
And greetings to our viewers.
Yeah. So today we'll be looking at church and politics. Today, I want us to strike a balance between the church and the politics at hand. And if I may ask, I want you to tell us, where is the place or the position of the church in the politics of Nigeria?
Well, thank you very much. If you recollect, or if we remember, when we were growing up, we used to be told that politics is a dirty game. And as we grew older, we found that statement very distasteful, in the sense that if you say politics is a dirty game, then who makes it neat, or who tidies it up? And for me, I think the time has come for the Christian community to be actively involved in the politics of this country. Because whether we like it or not, people who are church members, people who are Christians, people who go to church, are people that are citizens of Nigeria. And be that as it may, it is imperative on the church to be interested in not only in the spiritual well-being of the members, but as well as the physical well-being of the members. You and I know for sure that unless a family is, economically viable, it might be difficult for there to be unity. It might be difficult for there to be peace in the land. It might be difficult for there to be progress. That is why the church must make it as a point of priority to always encourage its members, to go and exhibit those virtues, those teachings that our Lord Jesus Christ taught us in the governing of the affairs of men. Because there's this adage, or there's this saying that all it requires for evil to thrive over good is for good men to keep quiet. So if we believe that, we are being taught how to be good, we are being taught to do the right thing in church, and we find a situation whereby our country is not where it's supposed to be, whereby we see our country, we look at our children, we look at the state of affairs of our country, it becomes imperative on us that, look, if some people are out there, messing up things, then it is our responsibility as Christians to also go in there and say, look, this is not how it's supposed to be. Because if the physical well-being of the people is not well taken care of, in a way or majorly, it will affect their spiritual well-being. You can imagine a family in which the husband has no job. Most of the time, you will find out that it will be only the wife and the children that will be coming to church. But when you have a society that, there's good governance, where people can go to bed with their eyes closed, where people are assured of their 3 square meals a day, then you will find the unity in the family. Because I'm sure the role of the church is to preserve the family as one.
Yeah.
But when there's economic disarray in any society, the unity of the family will be very, very threatened. And I'm sure that the church will not be interested in having a divided family, which in effect means a divided society.
Wow. From our own hand here, from CAC perspective now, we pray a lot, lots of spirituality, lots of evangelism, trying to pray against demons.
Yes.
When we rate governance, we are more of spiritual, thinking that except we pray, things might not get better. But the likes of China, developing countries, when I look at them, the developed countries, when I look at them, sorry, that how come these people are, making waves, and a praying nation like Nigeria is behind? Is it that the church is not participating in politics, or we are at disadvantage in terms of producing leaders who are godly and accountable?
Yes, the church is not participating enough. Don't also forget that in the Bible, Jesus said that prayer without work
Is dead.
So it is imperative on the church to ensure that, in as much as the church is praying fervently, the physical well-being must also be taken care of. And the physical well-being has to do with the governance, has to do with the economic prosperity of members. If, there's this Yoruba adage also, permit me to say it, that ebi kin wonu, koro mi wo, meaning that somebody who is hungry will not listen to any other thing but self-preservation to keep him alive. So if we are preaching the spirituality, the physical well-being has to do with the governance, has to do with the politics, has to do with us transferring those virtues, those values that we are being taught in church, to live a godly life, to be truthful to one another, like the 10 commandments. If we transfer it to the larger society, the society will be better for it, because the church is just a microscope of the larger society, even though the church is only for a particular set of people. Now I'm talking about the Christian folk. Okay. But the larger society embodies other religious faith and even atheists. So if the church is interested in we are being taught to be good to one another, and we find out that those who are ruling us, or those who are involved in politics, are not exhibiting these characters, are not putting it into practice, and we know that these values, these virtues that we have been taught, it is the only way that we can have an orderly society. It is the only way we can have a peaceful society. So it behoves on us that those things that we know we are taught, that we know can move our society forward, that we know can make even the church to prosper, then it is our responsibility to to move into that area of human affairs, because the church should not be about spirituality alone. Like I said earlier, the church should also be concerned about the physical well-being of its members, because if the members are not economically sound, a lot of times you find out that it will go against those things that the church preaches in favor of. For example, a lot of times you see us come to the church solemnizes marriages.
Yeah.
So if there is no economic well-being, that role that the church has played will always be torn apart by the larger society. That is just an instance of why it is imperative on the church to be interested in the political affairs of its people.
Well, from your first point, you said politics is evil.
Yes, they say the politics is dirty.
Politics is dirty. Politics is this.
Yeah.
Now, how do we preach otherwise? How do we come to say no? It isn't. It isn't evil.
Yes, it is. It is not only by preaching. It is by taking the step of faith. That the church will encourage members to join political parties, and if you get there, if you get into those, because the church must not be in favor of one political party, since the church is made up of a conglomeration of people. And you and I know very well, like we always say, that variety is the spice of life. Members of the church we can be in party A, they can be in party B, they can be in party C. It is not left for the church to tell its members that go into these parties, like Jesus said, go into the world and preach the gospel. It is not the responsibility of the church to tell its members, go into these parties and preach the gospel. Go and convert those that are yet to give their life to Christ, such that Christly conduct will pervade our political atmosphere. So that is the responsibility the church should, take up now. It is not enough for us to just sit down in the church or in our homes and be preaching and be praying. Because if we are preaching and praying and we are not putting into practice, like Jesus said, that prayer without work, then we'll be dancing around in circles.
That's a very beautiful one, sir. Let's take a quick break again, and then we'll come back to the point he just made. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, it is church and politics today that we are talking about right now, and Mr. Nelson Ekujumi is doing justice to that title. He has made quite some beautiful points on how the church should participate in the politics today. And to take us further, so Mr. Nelson, I want you to look into this situation. The narrative of Edo State coming election is overwhelming, and we have a pastor here, contesting against incumbent governor. How do you think, what are your hopes, what are your predictions as per who is winning?
Well, the situation in Edo, it's not too palatable, if you ask me.
Okay.
Because if you monitor events from Edo, you recognize that the candidates, just like it has been in our culture, rather than propagating their manifesto, that look, if office in the first 1 month, in the first 30 days, in the first 100 days, this is what I will do. Within X, Y time, this is what I will do for the people. Because governance is about solving human's problem, ameliorating the human condition. But unfortunately, we have a situation whereby all the candidates, what they have been doing is throwing mud at one another. And in that way, they are not helping, the electorate. So the church should take it as a responsibility, because I'm sure the candidates are going to approach the churches for its blessings. It's not the role of the church to redirect the narrative, to redirect, the psyche of the politicians, that look, this is not what you are supposed to be doing. Go out there, tell us what you want to do, how you want to make life meaningful for the average citizen of Edo. How are you going to provide jobs? Are you going to provide security? Are you going to provide the basic infrastructures that will make life meaningful for the average resident or indigene of Edo? So I think the church owes us that responsibility to help, redirect the narrative, because the topic we are addressing this today is about the church and politics. So it is not only for the church to pray. The church can set the agenda that no, this is not how the society should run. This is how we want the society to go. Because if there is disorderliness in Edo today, the church will be affected.
Yeah.
If there's crisis in Edo, the church will be affected. That's why the role of the church is very, very paramount in politics. So for Edo, one only hopes that the politicians would, redirect their focus from abusing one another and tell the people of Edo that this is what I want to do for you, people of Edo. This is my manifesto for the next 4 years. This is where I'm going to take Edo to. This is where I've met Edo. I've met Edo at maybe 10%. Within the next 4 years, I'm going to take Edo to 40 stakeholders, to play by the rules, to ensure that before, during, and after the election, that peace reigns. It is only when there is peace that we can talk of, progress. It is only when there is peace that we can talk of development. It is only when there is peace we can talk of delivering on the ideals of governance. So the candidates, the voters, the political parties, the civil society organizations, the electoral umpire, and the church. When I'm talking about the church, I've taken all the religious bodies, into perspective that, they should, admonish all the stakeholders to keep the peace and ensure that they focus more on what they want to do within the next 4 years, whoever gets into the governance office.
Wow. Wow, that's quite deep. Okay, let's bring it into the season we have globally. COVID-19 has done us all the woes we can imagine. The church is locked, the church has been opened, the church has limits, there are preventions and cautions and what have you. Now, election is coming in Edo.
Yeah.
What would you say should be our preparedness? Or how do you think we are supposed to manage the situation, containing the election and not spreading the virus?
Yes, the National Center for Disease Control, as well as the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, has interfaced with the electoral umpire, and they have, come together to issue some guidelines. Okay. And part of those guidelines they issued was that they admonished the parties to do less of outdoor campaigns, because when the parties organize rallies, it brings in a lot of people. Yeah. And one of the ways of spreading coronavirus is when people come together, unprotected and what have you. And the INEC is also encouraging voters that when you are going to the voting points, please put on your face mask. You must recognize that the responsibility to prevent the spread of COVID-19 or coronavirus is one's individual responsibility. You don't need to be told that you should keep safe. But unfortunately, again, I've said it on several media channels, I've never seen a society where people distrust even when they see the truth. People will tell you, oh, have you seen anybody have COVID? And I'll ask them, those people that you had on radio or TV that have died, do you think they are mere information that it is not real? So the conduct, the attitude of our people with regards to coronavirus is not encouraging at all. You go to some markets and I'll ask myself, in fact, at times I'll just stop by the way and I'll ask, please, is it that there's no more coronavirus? Why are we like this? Is it until we suffer the calamity of huge numbers? Is that what we are waiting for to convince us, when we hear every day the relevant agencies of state roll out statistics of people who have died, of people who have recovered? It's like we are not taking it serious. And I just hope the election will not be an avenue for us to upscale the curve instead of flattening it, that like we have been preaching. So I expect that the elections, that the people will recognize that, look, COVID-19 is real, that they have to stay safe, because if you contract COVID-19, it takes some days to manifest. Yes. And unfortunately, if you are a man with wife and children, the first casualty that will contract it from you are definitely going to be your family members. Yes. You recognize that in most cases, when a report comes out that Mr. X has tested positive for COVID, the next advice that the medical authorities give is that let your wife go and isolate and your other family members. So yes, we should not, because of our own irresponsibility, put the lives of other members of our family as well as the larger society at risk. So it is important for us to also use this medium to encourage the electoral umpire that they should ensure that on the day of election, there are alcohol-based hand sanitizers at the polling stations, such that immediately you want to on the call add reports of deaths of high-profile citizens, is because of their status. A lot of people who are not of their class are dying daily that it is unreported. Because, when it happens in any society, it is only when the high and mighty are toys that the information filters out. But when it's Mr. or Mrs. Nobody, nobody gives a damn. So I think we must make it very clear that, look, COVID-19 is real. Just recently, a senator died. Who represented the Jebu East Senatorial Zone in the 8th Assembly. And he was admitted to a medical facility in which we were told, I don't know if it's true, because I've never been a patient there, that, for COVID-19, the cost, the deposit for admission is 50 million naira. And you and I know very well that a lot of us, even when you say we should pay 5,000 naira, it's a big problem. So I think we should not put our lives at risk. It is not that COVID-19 is a death sentence.
Yes.
But, we must ensure, like we always say, that prevention is better than cure.
In addition to that, I think treatment is cheaper than burial.
Very true. Very true.
So thank you for that. Thank you for that. So now you have advised, you have counseled, and you have, made some points on, with respect to COVID-19, on the, how we are supposed to move in a time like this and stop the virus, and how the Edo State people should prepare ahead and follow the guidelines as recommended by the officials. Now, presently we are under a democratic government. And if I may ask, you see, where is Nigeria politics heading to? What's our future?
Well, I'm an optimist. I believe our future is very, very bright, because I was born and brought up in this society. And by the grace of the Almighty today, I'm a parent. And it is my dream that my children should outlive me and live a better life. Unfortunately, many a time I look at the situation in our country. The society, some of us, inherited from our parents, was an orderly society. Was a society that valued, ethical conduct. Was a society in which it was the Omoluabi ethos that pervaded our relationship. But today, we live in a society like the former chief of army staff, late Lieutenant Ibrahim, when he was being pulled out in 1994.
Okay.
The former chief of army staff, he said, to use his word, to paraphrase his word, he said the army, under former dictator Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, became an army of anything is possible. So our society today has become a society where anything goes. You have a society in those days, like I was also on a radio program, and I told somebody that, look, it was the same society that the social control within us will deter you before allowing the official instrument of the law apprehend you. How do I mean by this? I attended primary and secondary school, and I recognize that in our days, just some 10, 15, 20 years ago, we can't say it's been maybe 1960. I didn't attend school in the 1960s. I attended schools in the 1980s, and it's very close there. Whereby if a student cheats in an examination, or before the school authorities meet out the necessary point, we, his classmates, we ostracize him. So the fear of being ostracized by your peers, the fear of being called names, will make you run away from anything wrong. Because we'll tell you that, what are you using your head to think? You have come to school to learn. But we live in a society today whereby we, as parents, shamefully of us, because a lot of times we go out there, we abuse we castigate our leaders. Shamefully of us, we go to the examination hall with our children, encouraging teachers to help us cheat so that our children excel in exam. We have inadvertently tried to destroy the foundation of our children, and it is sad.
They call that special centers.
There were, nowadays there were no special centers, and it is so bad that when we go to somewhere and we want something, and we are giving the guidelines, and people still go far to say, "Is there nothing we can do?" Your child want to enter the university. They said it is 5 credits. Your child has 4 credits. Definitely, you should know your child is not qualified. You'll be looking for ways to cut corners so that the child can go in there and start the course even without meeting the basic requirements, which means we're encouraging the violation of the law.
And unfortunately, when such child comes out of school, they are the ones that that rob institutions.
Even in the school, they are the ones that become cultists. In our days, when anybody comes into ill-gotten wealth, wealth that is not merited, the first thing society does is that society runs away from you. That which job are you doing? How did you buy this car? Where did you get the money? But today, is a boy who is in year 2 or year 3 in the university will buy a car and the parents will be celebrating. That's the boy that should be giving, feeding allowance. Attitude of, I don't see, we put our eyes off. That is one of the greatest problems affecting this society, where somebody will say, "Oh, it is not my child; it doesn't concern me." I remember there's also this saying that ìka kan ló ń bí ọmọ, igba ọwọ́ ló ń tọ́. Only one man and one woman gives birth to a child, but it is the community. Because if that child becomes a problem, that problem will affect the whole community and not only his parents. So I think the time has come for us to look at how our parents, our fathers lived in the past, and they had a peaceful life, and ensure that this fire brigade life that we live, that we get out of it. And we can only do it if we put our hands to the plow, and not just by turning the blind eye. Oh, it doesn't concern me. No, it will concern you one day, because the negativity of such acts will rub off. If it doesn't touch you directly, it will touch you indirectly. Maybe it's one young boy in the society that you have known. It could affect him. And as a parent, we all know how it feels.
Interesting. Let's talk to our people at home. At the moment we are talking, we're having beautiful time on CACTV Television, and the discussion centers on church and politics today. Mr. Nelson Ekujumi here has been giving us quite some brilliant response as per how church and politics relate, and as it is, COVID-19 is a very bad one. But even at that, man must survive, and we have been looking at how the church can survive in a time like this, how the government's rules and all of that can flow in together with the church, and we can make a progress in our living. Let's go on a quick break. When we return, I will take it further in the program. Welcome back. We are still here live on CACTV Television, and the discussion is still church and politics today. Myself with Mr. Nelson Ekujumi. So let's take it further from where you stopped. Let's take it this way. If the church today makes you the president of Nigeria, what would you do that will affect the church as a body? To take you, I want you to really pour your mind on this note. Take, for instance, during this COVID-19, the church was shut. At one point, the government parastatals were hissed off and were asked to come out and start working. Some other brands too and firms, started opening, and the market too was working. But the church was shut, and the church people began to protest in their homes that they should release us. And we should not forget, the church has people earning by its administrative, there are people who hand the church secretary, the church administrative staff, like keyboardists, some of them are paid. The church even, have stationaries, stores, and what have you. People like that, what is the government thinking? I haven't allowed the lockdown to stay this long. We thank God they just is this last week. Lagos did last week, and Ogun State did this week. So,
Yeah,
in your
Ogun State
whole
today.
part, what would you do?
Yes, as a Nigerian and as somebody who has been in the socio-political environment, studying issues and analyzing it, I think the major thing, the first thing I want to do, which I also did when this government came in, I gave my own idea of how to move the country forward, is to look at the social re-engineering of the society. And for me, the major thing I'll be more concerned is with ethical values.
Okay.
Because once we get that right, then we can, have a good takeoff. The consciousness, the conscience of a lot of our people is dead. We live in this society today in a way that you can't differentiate between man, who is a higher animal, and other low animals. I'll give you an example. You get to a road. It happens every day. You ask yourself, is it that we are all mentally challenged? You get to a road. There's a traffic.
Yeah.
A car is coming from the other
And
end of the road. If you move, you block that traffic from going. But the average Nigerian driver will drive and ensure that, look, no, if I'm not going, you are not going. A lot of times when you listen to the federal road safety officials advice on road traffic, they always tell you that the road is meant for everybody. Nobody is going to pass on the road and then roll the road like a mat and put in your boot. So we do that on a regular. So for me, I think the major thing is for us to invigorate mechanism whereby we can talk to our conscience that, look, the way we are living in this part of the world is not the way life is meant to. Life is so easy, but we have made it like a hell for ourselves by our conduct. The government builds a road. The government provides electricity. Some persons will go there and vandalize. Somebody will just, on his own, take measures that will put the life of a whole community at risk. So a lot of times, the problems in this country, because it costs money, and that money is not only my own money. And even if it is my money alone, that money is a product of labor. So that is my major area of concern. That is one area where, if we do that, we will lessen the role of the church, in advocating change in the society. Because when we have this value orientation that, look, do unto others as I want them to do unto me, I'll be very much afraid of causing harm to the other person. Then you talked about the measures the government adopted with regards to the COVID-19. Well, unfortunately, COVID-19 was a novel pandemic. Okay. It has never happened anywhere in the world. And what countries did in conjunction with the WHO, World Health Organization, was that they were learning from each other. It has not happened before that you look at, when it happened in 50 years ago, this was the measures adopted to curb it. These measures of lockdown, gradualism, was what, pervaded the global space. The church, why the church was almost about the last to open now, was because the health authorities recognized the intermingling in the church. The intermingling in the church is such that you can't go to the market and say, hold your hands, let's pray.
Okay.
You can't go to the market and say, let us clap for Jesus. So those actions, those conducts that would aggravate the spread of COVID-19 is very, very much prevalent in the church. Those are the things they have looked into. They recognize the fact that people are working in the church that are earning means of livelihood. Don't also forget that a lot of businesses, even as we speak, airlines, the aviation industry just reopened.
Yeah.
The entertainment industry, the event centers, the schools, a lot of times is much. I've even teamed up with some of my colleagues that we should advocate that government should provide palliatives for private schools, because I know teachers, cleaners, security men in private schools who have not collected a kobo since March of 2020. And these are men and women who have families. A lot of times, some of our friends, they will send you a message, please, whatever you have, there's nothing for us to eat at all. That is a reality. Because unlike the government schools that, the government is paying salaries as maybe monthly or as at when due, the private schools, it is when they resume that they will get paid. And that is why a lot of the teachers now, at the latter stage of this COVID-19, have adopted the means of home lessons, because they don't want to die of hunger. So it is not only the church that has been affected. Every facet of our life has suffered one mishap or the other as a result of COVID-19. We just pray and hope we'll be able to get over it by ensuring, because like I said, it is not only by prayer. You must walk the talk. You must walk the prayer by ensuring that, look, when I was coming into these premises, there was a thermometer that was used on me to ascertain my temperature. I was given a hand sanitizer. And even in my car, I have a hand sanitizer I use every now and then. So it is important for us to recognize that COVID-19 has come. How we manage it lies with us.
Wow. Thank you very much, Mr. Nese Kuchumi. We are happy and very glad to have you on the program today.
It's a pleasure.
We thank God how far we have come in the program today, and we have actually come to the end of today's program. We believe when next we call you, you will be so happy to answer our call.
By the grace of the Almighty.
So, beautiful viewers around the world, we thank you. Those of you that are staying tuned, thank you for watching this program. And please, let's take cautions. Let's take this season seriously and beyond. Let's be conscious of our health. Let's be conscious of what to do part-time. And let's be conscious of politics. Politics is not evil. It is the evildoers that are evil, even outside politics.
Yes.
So politics is something you and I should partake of, and we should make God proud. We should, the likes of Solomon fall under politicians.
Yes,
David,
yeah.
they were politicians. These are people we want to be like.
Yes.
So if we say politics is evil, we are saying Solomon, David,
and the rest.
And the rest of them. Even our Lord Jesus Christ, yes, was a king. They call him the King of Jews. So there were people who rally around him at Bethlehem and trying to say at Jerusalem and trying to celebrate him.
Yes.
So we thank God that you have enjoyed every part of this program, and next time we will bring you more on the church and politics today. I'm Dakbo Oloruto, and bye-bye for now. Program we're about starting, it's actually something outside what we've been doing in the past. And I want us to strike a balance between the church and the politics at hand. And if I may ask, I want you to tell us, where is the place or the position of the church in the politics of Nigeria?
when we were growing up, we used to be told that politics is the destiny. And as we grew older, we found that statement very distasteful. In the sense that if you say politics is the destiny, then who makes it neat or who tidies it up? For me, I think the time has come for the Christian community to be actively involved in the politics of this country.
In the likes of China, developing countries. When I look at the developed countries, when I look at them, how come these people are, making waves, and the praying nations like Nigeria is behind? Is it that the church is not participating in politics? Welcome to another beautiful time on CACTV Television. I'm here live, and it's the program Church and Politics. Last week we had the maiden edition of Church and Politics, and my guest last week was a executive director for Center for Rights and Grassroots Initiative. Before I give you the full details of him, last week we talked about how church can influence politics and how politics can influence church, the recommendations as per who should be in politics and who is not supposed to be in politics. We had quite a beautiful time developed with human resources, and the most populated part, congregational, place in the world, I think, is the church. And these had always been, they have been working at par with politics. So I already bring our fluent and quite a beautiful, loaded person. He's a social analyst, he's a political analyst, he's also the executive director for Center for Rights and Grassroots Initiative. That is Mr. Nelson Ekujumi. Good to have you on the program, sir.
Good day. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. So today we'll be looking at politics from benefits perspective. Like how, what are the benefits I would enjoy if I join probably a party or if I engage in politics? What do I stand to gain?
Yes, thank you very much. You, as a citizen, you stand to gain quite a lot. Because like you and I know very well, politics is about the allocation of resources. Who gets what, when, and how. And when we are talking about allocation of resources, we are not talking about the personal allocation of resources. Rather, we are talking about the allocation of communal resources. That is what belongs to us all. Whatever we have all contributed to make for the smooth running of the state. So as a citizen, it is a very, very important for you to be involved in politics, either as an active participant or as a voter. And what do I mean by this? By the time you participate in politics, you'll be able to determine the good from the bad. You'll be able to make a choice, an informed choice about maybe a political party or a candidate that, look, this candidate has enunciated his programs. These programs that Mr. A or Miss B or Mrs. Z has enunciated, these are programs that will benefit the society in the long run. And how do we mean benefiting the societies? Is it in the provision of infrastructures? Is it in the provision of jobs? Because you and I know very well that as a human being, you have to work to earn a living. Yeah. Is it in the provision of the enabling environment for business to thrive? Is it in the provision of security, the bad people to get into governance, the bad people to take part in politics? Definitely, you and I know that, like our Lord Jesus Christ said, a bad tree cannot bring forth a good fruit. So you become somebody who has the benefit of taking the bad apple that ever comes from the bad tree. But if you are involved in politics, knowing the benefits that, look, politics is about how to make life better for the average citizen. It's about the amelioration of the human condition. Because life is about challenges. So your participating in politics will make you enjoy those quality and good benefits. But if you decide not to, if you're unlucky, you are living in an environment where people of your own kind of mentality are in the majority, then whoever gets there, because you have not, contributed your own input to determine who gets there, whatever comes out of that food that is being cooked, then you have to eat from it. But if you have taken part, just like there's this Igbo proverb that when a lion is being killed, it is imperative of you to be there, so that when they are portioning the parts, you take a good portion. You don't wait until they have finished cooking, they have finished slaughtering the ram, then you come. What you will be left with will be the bones that is being thrown, that ordinarily should go to the dogs. But as a human being, if you were there, then you tell them, this lion, I was there when we killed it, so this is what I want.
That's a good one. Well, for me, I was thinking that the understanding people have, or people generally has, about politics, going to politics is this: going on benefits now. Like, I tend to meet the godfathers, the appointments will flow down to me. And if you look at that, I think there are hierarchies. Going by party level now, there are hierarchies and there are slots, portions. I think it is your work that determines what you get. So how do we, expose people intellectually that, you are going into politics. That doesn't mean that you get there and start fighting for commissioner, or going there to fight for SA and, councillorship or blah, blah, blah. So how do we?
No, I think the message we should send home to our people is that for some time now we have had this warped mindset that politics is about what do I get. No.
Okay.
Politics should be about what do we get. Because it should not be about what you are gaining as an individual. It's about the government or the party getting into power and putting out policies that will make life meaningful, that will make life affordable, that will ensure quality life. Or if a government gets into power tomorrow and says, look, we're offering free quality education from primary to secondary, it won't be only the children of the party members. Every member of that society benefits. But we have developed this mindset that, where politics is about, let me go and join this party. So when we're having a meeting, how much are they sharing for me? It should not be like that. Or on election day. Unfortunately, that has been the norm in our society for some time now on election days, where voters go to the polling stations and they are looking for party agents who will induce them with monetary things, who will induce them with other souvenirs. It should be about, I'm going there. For the next 4 years, I'm going to vote for candidate A, because candidate A has promised that in the next 3 years, we are going to have improved power distribution from 4,000 megawatts to 8,000 megawatts. In that way, if the state is providing us 10 hours electricity per day in our community, the man who is coming into office has said, look, when we increase the generation and distribution from 4,000 megawatts to 8,000, then instead of me giving you 10 hours a day, I'll be providing you 20 hours a day. So when a government provides you electricity 20 hours a day, definitely you and I know that that government will be alleviating poverty. Because you know why? The amount of money a lot of us expend in providing private power supply through our generators, you can't quantify it. There was a day I was telling somebody that if I look at how much I've spent in buying petrol in my generator, honestly, I should be buying new cars if I do a rough estimate.
Wow.
Because I'm somebody who wants to be abreast with developments in the polity. So every now and then, I must make sure my electronic gadgets are charged. And how do I charge them? It is when I provide electricity. Because a lot of times, even in some communities as we speak here, they are not yet connected to the national grid. So you realize that such people are living in the Stone Age. Even those of us in the cities, so in some environments in the cities, people they are using maybe 4 hours a day. Then in some communities, it is 1 day on, 1 day off because of epileptic power supply. So it should be about what do we get. It is not, politics should not be about I, because it's about allocation of state resources. State resources must not be allocated to an individual. State resources must be allocated in a way that will benefit the generality of the people. If the government constructs a road, if the government provides quality medical health care, it is for everybody. I won't be the only one that will say, oh, because I voted for party A and party A is in office, you voted for party B, you cannot benefit. No. It is, politics should be about what do we benefit as a people, not what do I. But unfortunately, that has been the mindset of a lot of our people. And that is one area that we need to continuously as our people. That look, when you go to police station on election day, don't go because of what you get for that day. Because whatever you get for that day ends on that day. Be concerned that on the election day, you are going to thumbprint for a 4-year mandate, 4 years of your life. He was brought up in an orderly society. I remember when I was growing up in this society. This was a society in which, even before the law catches up with you, within our own small gathering,
Yes.
there are disciplinary measures we matter to one another. And those disciplinary measures cautions you, forbids you from taking some actions. For example, as I'm sitting down here today, I'm a parent. I did my primary, secondary, and university education at a time past in this country. You dare, as a student, you dare not cheat in an examination. Because if you cheat, your peers, they will ostracize you. Because we will ask you, how can you cheat? Our parents have sent us to school. What are you using your head for? What are you thinking? But unfortunately, I'm studying that today, I'm afraid the type of society we are living in, and I'm afraid about the type of society we are going to bequeath to our children. This is the same society that if somebody, I said it the other time, if somebody comes into sudden wealth, as you are here now, as I'm here, that I've not done any I've not won any contract, I've not worked for years, I've not inherited fortune from maybe my grandparents, and all of a sudden you see me riding a car of 10 million. Even if you ride a car of 1 million, the society will first of all run away. It will be as if when one sees a lion in the forest, you first of all take off. The society we ask, but we live in a society today where people don't ask questions, where people believe, oh, that is why we are living our life today as if we are playing lottery. People don't subject their existence to rigorous analysis. Why am I on this earth? Is it just like Jesus said, our Lord Jesus Christ said that man shall not live by bread. For political position, you'll be assessed on the basis of your intellect. In fact, in some of those parties, we are told, because we were very young then, we couldn't, become members of the party. We were told that candidates or aspirants will be given papers and biro and be told to enunciate why you want to run for this office. What do you have to offer?
Wow.
But today, sadly, it is no longer about what you have to offer. It is about how big is your pockets. And the society is also copying, because somebody will just come from the moon and say, I want to run for governor. And everybody, just because the man has a lot of money to try, everybody is running after him. No. Where are you coming from? What have you done? What is your past?
Should check that.
That we should do a forensic check of candidates. Oh, this man wants to become the local government chairman. Yes. Who is he? What has he done before? Where is he coming from? What is his educational pedigree? Is he a responsible member of the society? These are basic questions, but unfortunately, we live in a society where anything goes, like I said. So the pitfalls we are talking about, we are also responsible because on election day, on party campaign days, we are waiting for what to get. I remember my father told me that in those days, party members contribute to fund parties. But today, everybody will join a political party either because I want to be collecting a mudu of rice whenever they are sharing it, or maybe they are going to share Ankara, or on election day, they will give us money.
Yeah.
But in those days, people were contributing. Oh, this is our party. We have brought out Mr. X. For our party to emerge successful at the polls, we need money for campaigns because definitely, when the parties are involved in campaigns, you print posters. Posters cost money.
Yeah.
You go on TV station to talk. The airtime must be paid for. Yeah. You print souvenirs to propagate what your party is about. You print manifesto, booklets. You pay the printer. So those are the things the party was coming. But today we look for a party where we already have a money bag. And later we'll be complaining that there's one godfather who is the... Why won't it, like our people say, he who pays the piper dictates it. How can somebody be funding a party and you are not contributing anything, but rather you want to get out of it, and you are complaining that that man or woman is dictating what goes? You can only have a voice if your fund is also involved. So the pitfalls in our political parties is that we live in a society whereby we are not being ruled by ideas. Mm-hmm. Societies that make progress are societies that are ruled by, we are being ruled by our pockets. Our society now thrives by materialism rather than idealism, because it is ideas that move society forward. It is ideas that brings about innovations, that bring about inventions. Oh, remember in the time past, as a journalist, when I write articles or press statements, I go from one TV and radio station to the other. For example, let me tell you, under this organization, when I write press statements on national issues, I'll first of all go to Kirikiri. You know what? We have Vanguard newspaper. Okay. From Vanguard newspaper, I will come to 5 Star, where we have Guardian. Mm-hmm. From Guardian, I will come to the back of Guardian at Maturi, where we have The Nation.
And copy them too?
I'll give them the hard copy. Yeah. I'll come to Punch at Onipetesi. That's Lezik. I will drop. I'll go to LTV at Obafemi Awolowo. Within that axis, you have the news, you have PM News, you have Daily Independent. I'll give them hard copies. But because of the innovation, because of the idealism of some people, now I sit down on a spot and I disseminate all these messages through, is it WhatsApp? Is it email? Is it Facebook? So that is how society, look at the stress that has been taken off me. Look at the danger I face moving from that. I could have been knocked down in an accident. I could develop any ailment. But now you can, even no matter your state of health, through the internet, now what I was doing manually, physically, laboriously, now I can do it without any stress. That is how to move a society forward, not like what we are doing. Those are the pitfalls of our politics, that we should continuously engage ourselves in such a way that we'll be asking critical questions. Our roads, why are they like this? When you construct a road, Mr. Commissioner, Mr. Local Government Chairman, there's nothing in life that does not have wear and tear. Even we as human beings, we have an expiry date.
Yes, we do.
That you have built this road for us. What is the cost? What is the lifespan? Nobody is asking. So those are the pitfalls of our party politics, because when we go into joining political parties, we are not going there because we want to ask questions that will move the society. Rather, we are going there because of what we stand. Oh, if I join that party, maybe in the next 5 years, I can aspire to be a local government chairman. So when we are talking about the pitfalls, we are also creators of those pitfalls, those woes we have mentioned.
Wow. Sorry to cut you, sir. Let's go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll take it further from where we stop.